At the railway training school in Lahore, they're teaching potential station masters to see that trains don't bump into each other. They have to learn all forms of signalling, from the most primitive single line operating to the latest colour light control. Pakistan railways are very much ancient and modern. Inevitably for me, it's the ancient that I love best. I long to have a go myself. These engines, made way before independence, are still tootling happily around the track. But when you move into the headquarters of Pakistan Railways, it becomes clear that parts of the British heritage are more of a hindrance than a help. The railways still employ 130,000 people. The British have gone, but the Babus, the clerks, live on. The pivot general. I wonder what's turning on him. Nothing, I sense, but a lot of paper which revolves from desk to desk, constipating the system. Bureaucracy and overmanning are the besetting sins of the entire Indian subcontinent. No one has yet had the courage to take on the might of the Babus.
Thank you.
As a foreign correspondent, I couldn't resist the privilege of penetrating the corridors of power to find out whether there's any sense of urgency here.
Well, for example, in the last 2-3 years, we have shed about 10,000 people. If we maintain that rate, in about 2 years' time, 3 years' time, that will not be a problem. Overstaffing will not be a problem if we are able to keep a tight lid on recruitment. So far, the government has cooperated with us, and there has been no recruitment. There's no problem. We don't want to sack people. See, it's a humanitarian problem. They have been with us for a long time. You know, railway is a brotherhood, and we just don't want to say people, okay, don't come to office tomorrow. We don't do that.
I wondered if the general manager was as confident about the threat of road transport as he was about the prospects of reducing staff painlessly.
Presently, what is worrying me is we have not been able to get all the people who want to travel by train onto the trains. We meet only about, in case of passenger sector, we meet only about 50 to 60% demand that is laid on us. Similarly, in the freight sector, today, given the sources, I can carry about 20% more than what I'm currently carrying. My problem is not that of people not coming to me, it's my inability to carry them. So road transportation doesn't bother me at all.
Yes, the trains in Pakistan are still well patronized, but there's plenty of track for many more if only someone would fund them. Meanwhile, the roads are improving and motorways are now coming. Habits will change. But I must admit that in the bazaars of Lahore, there isn't much sign of change. Horse transport still survives because in Pakistan, unlike in India, human beings don't pull rickshaws. The driver actually believes that time should go backwards. He wants the British to return. He's worried about the Pakistani economy, though I can't see why he thinks the British would be any better at dealing with it. Actually, I suspect he's just saying what he thinks I'd like to hear. In Pakistan, tea shops are the equivalent of pubs or bars. In this one, the conversation turned to the plight of musicians. This tabla player is keen to know about the music scene in India. He complains that in Pakistan, the mullahs are not enthusiastic about music and that is affecting his prospects.
वो बहुत अच्छे तबला प्लेयर पूरी दुनिया में पूरे पाकिस्तान में पूरी दुनिया में वर्ल्ड में
He does say that there are still some great ustads or gurus of music in Pakistan. So we both celebrate the fact that despite the mullahs, the musical scene is still not dead.
इधर चांस नहीं देते हम आपका नाम
But now I must get on with my journey. Even the station in a city as civilized as Lahore is built like a fort. A number of railway stations like this were constructed just after the Indian Mutiny in 1857, when the British Raj was seriously threatened with collapse and had to recapture large areas of the subcontinent. Lahore is Pakistan's busiest station and the only one still connected to India. Information in Pakistan is not always easy to come by, and the railways are no exception. I need to find out about a daytime train to Rawalpindi, as I don't want to wait for this evening's Khyber Mail. After 25 years in the Indian subcontinent, I still sometimes forget that patience doesn't pay. My next destination, Rawalpindi, is home for me in Pakistan. It adjoins the new capital, Islamabad. I spent a lot of time there reporting on the politics of Pakistan. One of the charms of a railway journey anywhere in the subcontinent is the way that the menu changes as you move from one region to another. In Karachi, it was seafood. In Lahore, I'll be dipping my naan into balti gosht, which literally means meat fried in a bucket. The tea everywhere is very hot and very sweet. My train, the Tezgam Express, has been through a facelift, brand new carriages and painted bright blue. Last time I travelled from Lahore to Rawalpindi, I had to buy a ticket on the black market. In the true spirit of free enterprise, booking clerks often collaborate with touts. I was told at the counter that there were no seats available, but miraculously on the platform, a man offered me a ticket at twice the price. Pakistan Railways must be a ticket collector's nightmare. I'm travelling first class air conditioned. There's also first class, lower air conditioned, second class and economy. Someone in trouble, a ticketless traveller with excess baggage too. He protests that he'd always intended to pay, but the ticket collector is determined to fine him. I'm brought into the row and then blamed for the fine. The victim says that the ticket collector is only doing his duty for the camera.